Hi everybody, I'm Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka JND, and welcome back to another video. And yes, I'm very nasally, I'm quite sick, so I hope you enjoy that. And I also have a new little TBR section on my desk. It's super cute. Definitely check out my vlogs if you want to see what's in it and stay up to date with my TBR. Yes. And firstly, I just wanted to say the day that this is uploading, it's my birthday. So that's exciting. I'm turning 23. I know I don't act 23, but I definitely am. And it's a fun time, honestly. Like, time is just flying by at this point. I'm just like, I'm trying to embrace every moment. Yeah. And I also wanted to announce very quickly that for the Brown Girl Book Club, our February and March book pick is Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany Jackson. I am so excited to read this, and we also have a lovely co-host again for this month, and it's going to be Mina Reads. So I'll link her channel below, her Twitter and things like that. So we're gonna again have a live show probably at the end of March, so make sure y'all grab your copy of Let Me Hear a Rhyme. Comment down below, are you gonna participate? You do not have to be brown or a girl to participate in this book club, but the book club is about promoting women of color, authors, and protagonists. So if you are out there and you're like, I should read more like diverse content, you should join the book club then. Raj. Now, getting into this video, to celebrate my birthday, I decided that I would pick 5 books from my shelf that I think represent me as a reader and also are just great books that I would highly recommend to all of you, that I think you all need to take your time out of your day to read, and you'll thank me later. Getting into it, I'm going to start off with some obvious ones. I feel like these are all obvious. Take the time. If you think you know what books I'm going to mention, comment down below. Guess. I'll give you a second. Will you guess correctly? Who knows? Okay, the first book should be really obvious. I cannot recommend this book enough. Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. If you have subscribed to my channel and you like my content, please get this book. Read this book. I recently reread it again, and it's just so breathtaking. It's definitely a very specific experience, but I feel like a lot of people can connect through this experience. Like, it's interesting because I find intersectionality not limiting. A lot of people say that, you know, when you're queer, black, and something else, and you're intersectional, that you feel isolated because you can't associate with either side. That may be people's experiences, but my mindset and what I've been trying to learn and engrave in others is that intersectionality means that you relate to more people. You relate to now queer people and black people, or if you're Hispanic, or if you're white, French, Canadian. Like, being intersectional just opens more doors, and I really want that to be a message that people kind of engrave. Like, stop isolating ourselves and stop doing that, or stop judging others for being multiple things or mixed. It's like, it's a beautiful thing, and we are all becoming more mixed. And if you're not mixed, like, I don't know, it's like cool to see and experience other people's interpretations. Like, I read a lot of books about like bi, gay characters, and I always think that perspective is interesting, even though I am not those things. You know, open your mind, guys. It's 2020, and it's like, should be exciting at this point. Like, I feel like we shouldn't be scared of this stuff anymore. So that was a tangent, but I think you should read Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. It is about a girl named Jade who is a collagist, and she goes to a private school, and she has a lot of interesting experiences. A lot of this book deals with how she feels about herself, being beautiful. She's a curvy girl, so she gets a lot of comments about that. She experiences a lot of things because she is black, and she constantly feels like she has to defend herself. So I feel like it's a very interesting narrative that a lot of people who may not relate to it, but can see it, appreciate it, and enjoy the story and the context of it. I cannot rave about this book anymore, and if you don't add it to your TBR after this video, I'm ready to fight. Not really, maybe a little. The next book should also be pretty obvious, and I don't know if I should make this a book club pick. I don't think so, because I feel like a lot of people have read it and know about it, but it is The Poetics by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is my favorite audiobook of all time. Elizabeth Acevedo, who is a slam poet, narrates the audiobook. It's amazing. It is about a girl who's a twin. She's going through Catholic school. Her mom has a very strong religious belief and has a lot of religious practices that she is putting on her daughters, her kids. And in a Latinx family, it tends to be a lot of the rules fall on the girl to be modest and to not date and to all this stuff. And she's dealing with it while wanting to be a poet and wanting to express herself and starting to figure out her sexuality and falling in love with people. It is beautiful. It is written in verse. I don't know if you could tell, but it's beautiful. And even though it's written in verse, it still tells a very strong narrative. It's a beautiful, beautiful story with a lot of relational aspects with her and her brother, her and her romance, her and her mom, her and her dad. There's so many aspects to this book. It is beautiful. And you, if you haven't read it yet, put it on your TBR. This is my way of celebrating my birthday, is telling you that you need to read all these books, if that's be done. The next book, I don't have it. I actually just ordered it on Book Outlet, so if you like book hauls, stay tuned and subscribe to this channel. But I have another book by her, Jacqueline Woodson. This is If You Come Softly, which is also a very beautiful like book, and the cover, oh, it's just beautiful. Jacqueline Woodson is also a poet, also writes very beautifully. Is this one written in verse? No, this one's not written in verse, but some of her stories are written in verse, like Brown Girl Dreaming, which is also a beautiful book. But the book in particular I want to talk about is Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. This book is short like most of Jacqueline Woodson's stories, but it touches on race so well. These are kids who don't have too many ideas about the world and are just starting to get grasp of like racism and prejudice and things like that. And it's a group, and it's not just the black perspective. There's also a white perspective, or a more wealthy and a poor perspective. There's classism. It talks about it all, and it's these kids learning how to express themselves. This teacher basically says to these kids, hey, y'all need to go to this room and write poetry, and it just talk, just be with each other and learn from each other. And she forces them to do this, and though at first they're not happy about it, they do end up learning a lot from each other. About, there was a family, a kid who his dad is missing and possibly deported, we don't know, and you just learn so much from these kids and their perspectives, and these are things that people are going through. And I also love it because it's not just, you know, a lot of people say Black Lives Matters, their response is, well, all lives matter. I think if you're in that opinion where you're like, oh, I don't understand that phrasing, this book is great for you. It doesn't talk too much about Black Lives Matter. It talks about everyone's perspective. So I think everybody can appreciate this book. It is not just about one perspective. It shows you a group of kids going through so much. And I think everybody can take something from it. So Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. Amazeballs. The next book that I am going to mention was just such a great book. So this is The Love and Lies of Rukhsana Ali by Sabina Khan. This book is so good. Crying, literally beautiful, stunning book that just has everything. So this book is about a Muslim American teen, because she is growing up in Seattle with her parents who have come from Bangladesh, but they're very traditional. So she, what's her first name? Oh yeah, Rukhsana Ali. I should have remembered. Duh. But she is a lesbian and she's dating somebody. And in the beginning of the book, it really touches on the fact of privilege, because her family's so traditional that she's not comfortable speaking out, because other people who have spoken out about being of a different sexuality have been kicked out of their homes, and the fear of that. And she talks about it with her friends who are white and don't understand that perspective, and they're like, why don't you just tell your parents, because they're trying to hide the relationship. There's so much going on in this book. They talk about privilege, they talk about different cultures, growing up first generation American, and how your parents really want to support you and push what's good for you, but they have a very specific vision of that. It's very good. This is super good. I was also considering mentioning American Panda. I find those two to be similar, but this one gets a little bit top notch just because the writing is so good, and it talks a lot about queerness. So yes, definitely check it out. I cannot praise this enough. And in the end, it's not like the most like happily ever after, we're all good contemporary. It's definitely a hard-hitting contemporary that makes you think. So definitely need to read it, guys. Definitely. So if you watch a lot of my reading vlogs, you might know I read a lot of fantasy, so I could not mention a fantasy. I love it, and I was considering doing Red Queen, but I know that's a very popular book and people have mixed opinions about it. I loved it because it introduced me to the fantasy world. It was my first love triangle. Like, a lot of people read Twilight back in the day. I did not. I skipped that train, and I hopped on the Red Queen train, and it just hit me personally because of Mare being of color and wanting to survive and feeling like she's not special. So I feel like a lot of people may relate to that narrative, and who wants extra boys just chasing after them? Who doesn't want that? So it's just a cute time. But I've decided instead I'm going to say The Last Magician, because this is definitely a super like amazing book. Like, I reread Red Queen a couple times and I enjoy it, but I definitely see the problems in it, you know. I'm like, oh dang, ooh, why'd you do that? But with this, no problems. And it also talks a lot about systemic racism. It also talks about in the beginning of America, like when we were oppressing Irish and Asian people, and it's just so incredible because it does that, but it's also all about magic and fantasy. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that this is just about race. It is about so much more. The Last Magician is basically about a girl who, what's her name? Esta is so incredible. She can travel through time and she goes back into the past to try and save the world. Basically, in this world, this one focuses on Manhattan. A lot of magicians are trapped in Manhattan with this protective bubble around it, and if you pass through it, you will lose your powers and most likely go insane and die. Most people don't survive. So they have basically trapped in Manhattan and they're being oppressed, and it's bad news. But she goes back into the past and tries to fix everything, and there's so much political intrigue, twists and turns and surprises, and the romance is unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Like, you think that, like, I don't even know what I was gonna say, but Lisa Maxwell does so much justice. Like, if you like witty banter, if you love tension, it's phenomenal. It's a big boy, but it's phenomenal. I can't rave about this enough, and I think a lot of people will really enjoy this. If you're in for just a fun, magical, romantic ride, do it. And it splashes in there a message about, like, you know, bad people and what makes good people, and like race and things like that. And there's also queer characters in here, so it's great representation, and it's a pretty big cast of people, and there's different perspectives, and it's just like everything I want from a fantasy, and I know that a lot of people will love in a fantasy, so yeah. So my birthday wish to all of you is to read a few of these, hopefully all of them, and love them. If you don't have time to, I mean, I guess it's okay. Don't fulfill my birthday wish. That'll be okay. But yeah, I'm done being extra. But yeah, I also just wanted to take the time and share that with you. I know I've been getting a couple new subscribers. I can't thank you enough for 1,500 subscribers. That's insane to me, and it keeps going up every day, so that's really cool. I can't thank you enough. So these are books that I love and that I highly recommend that you should probably check out. If you like my channel, if you like my content, if you like my reviews, check out these books. And maybe wish me a happy birthday if you want. It's not, you're not obligated. It's okay. But I will see you guys in the next video. I love you all so, so, so much, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.